just a little bit of review before we start this seder. The Rebbeinu Shalom told him originally to Moshe Rabbeinu he's not going to send you out right away. He's going to be, I'm going to harden his heart. So that was part of the mitzvah. That was part of the makis. Yet you find that in the beginning he hardened his own heart. So what do you have? So if you look at the first set of Va'era, he has taken 7 makis. The 6th one, he had to harden his heart by shrin. And then, what brought it should have gone out with borod. Because by borod it says, Kol Magi Foisei. Rashi learns it goes on makis b'cheres. But it's a hagdome to borod. And a lot of Rishonim hold that it goes on borod, not on makis b'cheres. It goes on borod, it makes sense. So I got Kol Magi Foisei. And the reason that it's so borod was so much different than all the other makis as far as seeing the Keches v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is he saw water and fire coming down from the heavens at the same time. And it's coming from the heavens, not only from the earth, that the basin is in the whole world. There's these keches. So, and the truth is, it had its effect. Hari himself said that that is that you've done that aniv ami rishoyim Hashem atzadik v'aniv ami rishoyim. So I don't know how he recognized that. I mean, what did you see tzitkisim with that? And that I don't know how he did it. But Lamaise Pari saw that the Benjamin was right finally. Okay, so now and then he hardened his heart. Now the pshat is the hardening of the heart has nothing to do anymore with the original onishim. Now these things are because you're dead. You realize the emes, and after became you were still able to harden your heart. So then you have misa now. Except that misa is not enough. I'm going to beat you up 3 times before I'm going to give you misa. That's the tamadava. But the idea is that this is a different parsha altogether than the first 7 makis. These 3, because these 3 are just an end off on the thing. So the first thing, but in there, so first of all you see difference of reaction of Moshe Rabbeinu. Before that he spoke with respect. When we got to Shilas and how to speak to Pari and this and this. Now he's going to get angry at Pari. You don't get angry at a melech. The Shilas is, you're not my melech. You are nobody. You are nothing. You're chayvisa. You are anything. Also the Loshen boy is a strange thing. And this I'm not too sure of. Because in language it depends if I talk on my GPS or not. When I put in my GPS, what do I do when I want to go home? I put down go home, right? But really, usually I'm coming home, right? You're not going home. I go to strange places. I don't go to home. But in the GPS, you go home. So I'm saying, so the idea is that now you belong here. How he lost it all. Mitzrayim is the Yidden's now. It's yours, Moshe. You got the complete control of Mitzrayim. It has nothing to do with him anymore. It's come to Pari. It's your place. It's everything else. It's your place. Come to Pari. And whatever it is, and he starts to talk to him about the union of the Albert. But he also gets into, so first, Pari, God hardened his heart, so it doesn't mean you become stupid. God not yistam shugi, because there's certain things you're still afraid of, even if God hardened your heart. The idea is that it's not a normal musazach. It's like more of a stubbornness. But if I have reality in front of me, so reality teaches me to be careful. So when the Mitzrayim came to him, don't you know Kvarov the Mitzrayim? That what are you starting up with them? Let them alone. Let them go. Right? What are you chapping them for? So on that, he was able to change his mind and say, okay, I'll listen. But the stubbornness that gets into a philosophical question, which is a very important question on the thing, there he refuses to give in. And then when he refuses to give in, he's talking and all of a sudden you're back again to where you started and he threw them out. So what happened over here? He says, okay, go. Who's going? He says, we're all going. So he says to them back, what are you going for? You're only killing them. In other words, we have to understand ourselves. I mean, the biggest nisyonis come of 10 years. In the 10 years come the biggest nisyonis. You're a nobody. You're not even big enough to be able to listen to the nisyonis. So how come the pension throws at you such big ones? All our rights, all everything else, and the shkofis and the thing there. I'm a kid. What do you give me such hard problem for? So the Breinshim has chesed. He does it, the Shemayim is 20. I'm giving you 7 years to learn how to control yourself. That didn't say it's not an avera. I said, to learn how to control yourself. I've not done you on it yet. That's the point. In other words, a person that could say, you know, let me do an avera till I'm 19, and I'll do tshuva the last year. It won't happen. That's the thing that he's telling you. If you don't start now, it's not going to happen. Because the more rogel you're going to get into the things, the more hard it's going to be. So you have to have a fight from now on. And hopefully by the time you're 20, you'll be one. You'll have won. And that's the Beishum's manhag here. Okay. But in Goy, in the street, how is he? He can't control himself. Not his machshove, not his meisen, not anything. He shakes, right? He does the thing. So that's what Parah is timing. All you're doing is killing the kids. You're not saving the old guys. They're retired, whatever it is. They're looking for something to give them. They need some opium of religions or somehow. So okay, take them. Those guys is okay. But the young guys, they want to live yet. So you're only going to kill them. So that's what I think the answer is. Because Rashi brings down a ganze vikuach. This Benshel Moshe after the Egel, you know, Lama Yemim Mitzrayim, Roa Hatziyam, Hari Yisam. In other words, that the Tziyim, you see, they saw Roa. Roa means it's some kind of a star called Roa or something, and it has blood and it has to do with dying, and that's your future. And that's going to be because you guys can't control your souls. You will die. So he says, no. He turned it to Dam Mila. Mila means we start at 8 days. If you start teaching the kid at 8, then you don't have these problems with nisyonis. We put the kid in these, we train him, we try to bring him up in a certain way, then there's no nisyonis. The nisyonis come because I want this, I'm rugged with this, like the Kidras HaTaiva, which came in because they already had the arayis. You want to answer them now, that becomes a big problem. But if Kolzman, we didn't have yet the arayis, you didn't get used to them yet. So then if you start young, you'll be able to be Polish. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu told him in the end. So this is a philosophical answer. So it's very important that we start young with kids, not only that they become rogel mitzvahs, rogel things, when they're young. Okay. Then he told about the Arba, and the Arba, obviously, I mean, we here had Arba. With Staten Island, we used to have an Arba. We used to have, it's called the 17-year locust. It came every 17 years in the summer. And what do you call it? And I remember it hasn't come the last time. The last one for sure not, and maybe twice not. Now it could be because we're getting built up here or something like that. I can't answer you why not. But I remember the year that it came, the first time that it came, that it was such noise. The whole day was noise. You didn't see them necessarily. You weren't looking for them. But they were all over the trees. There was no leaves on the trees. There was no nothing. It was all bare. Why? Because they ate everything up. And the thing and then just kept kvetching and having that sound of bzzz. They just like, what's that noise? You know, that's what they were. Okay. So that's what Mitzrayim was going through. So Mitzrayim going through that, obviously they saw everything, there's no food left. After Bora, there was still food left. This was soft, this was hard, whatever the reason, it was nisim on certain things. But after the Alba, there's nothing left. So there's no food at all. Okay. I guess they could have eaten the Alba. How much Alba could you eat? I guess I don't know. I have no idea about that. Because obviously the ones that is a kosher min, but let's forget about being a kosher min. It didn't make a difference to them kosher or not kosher. Okay. So anyway, so Benishim got rid of them. And they say to such a degree that there's no Arba ever in Mitzrayim. The Benishim made it that he blew it up, there's no more left, and that means Ad Seif Kol Aderes. I don't know if you see us, I can't answer you, but I saw that shot. Then it should be Choshech. What's Choshech? What kind of mak is Choshech? Okay, the second 3 days I can hear. The first 3 days that it's just dark. Okay, it's dark. We can feel around, do things and that, you're still eating. The second 3 days, you couldn't move. That means the guy who was standing kept standing. The guy who was sitting kept sitting. You had to go to the bathroom, you can't go. There's no way to go. So Pshat is in the thing that either he got stomach sick or whatever things happened to him. In other words, his body was probably revolting against him and everything else that was happening. So that was simply the maki of what Choshech was. But Choshech had other reasons besides the maki. Rashi brings down that the Yidden that were showing nothing, so that didn't want to go out, died then. So how many died? We know from Vishal, Chamushim Olam Eretz Mitzrayim, then only 1/5. The maximum is 20%. According to Midrashim, it's 0.02%, and you can have even 1 in 600,000. I mean, the amount is staggering to think about it. So the kasha became, it wasn't the Benishim worried that when they go and got a Mitzrayim, the Mitzrayim will see, where are all the Jews? They're all dead, right? So then they'll have a kasha. So what's the yichus of you guys, right? So I want to time that the reason they couldn't see is because you can't see the forest because of the trees. You had about still people left 600,000 but that makes about 3-4 million people because you have a similar number of women. And then you have the guys over 16, under 20. So you still have a tremendous amount of people. There are no hills in Mitzrayim. So therefore you can't stand high to see how far the Elam goes. So they only saw the front people. So as far as they know, everybody's here. But they have no asagya that there's some missing.
What about the pyramids? The pyramids.
The
pyramids.
The pyramids. It's not near there. It really isn't. And I don't know if you're allowed to go on top of the pyramids. Okay. Okay. Now, and then When he wants, and also, he says to see the things in Mitzrayim. The Benishim gave the Chein could have given the Chein to give us everything. He doesn't have to make it that we can tell him. But I think that was part of the Makkah, that the Goyim can't understand. And who they just told me such a matter. Where was this? In Pesach, I think. There was a guy, he drove into a gas station, and the guy filled up with $50 worth of gas. And the attendant says to him, I thought you guys are honest. She says, yeah, what do you feel? What didn't we do honestly? He said, there was a guy just like you. He was here a few minutes ago, and he filled up $5 worth of gas, and he pulled out without paying. Okay, so what did the guy do? He says, okay, I don't want you to think bad about it. I don't know how it happened, but put on $5 on my bill. He got $55. The guy was arrested later for doing this to all former Yidden. They were trying to tell him that he was a scammer from a Yidden. You see, there's a guy that didn't pay, and all the guys paid for him, and stuff like that. But they couldn't even understand that. The same thing, you can't understand it. They learn from it. There's a goyim that go in the mountains that would carry a yarmulke in their pocket. Because if you ever get it flat, you put the yarmulke on and just stand trying to fix your car, you'll see they'll stop for you and they'll fix your car for you. That's the way they think of it. They know that. Okay, so they say, you came into my house, you're telling me I can't even deny what I have in my house because you saw everything, but you didn't take anything. The guys didn't steal. You could have stole. I wouldn't have known what happened to it. If something's missing afterwards, I just wonder who was here, who was able to see, but he wouldn't have thought that the Yidden were able to do it or something like that. Or maybe he wouldn't even look in that room. How many times you have something in your closet and you haven't looked in there in years, to see if it's there. I mean, so, okay. Then he gives him the Hakdamah of Maggid Becheres. And I think the reason this is, the Gemara says that the Benish is not a kapel, schar, and kol belia, by the fact it's like Kelev Tashlichin, I say. If you have a nevela, you mechayiv to throw it to the dog before you sell it to the guy. In other words, it's mutter to give to the dog. And they can make money on it. Rafal became dog that they're saying why because they didn't bark. Now the question is, barking, they should have barked as a dogmir. So I kind of know. The reason they get the schar for this is not because they didn't bark. That's no yichus. They didn't bark, and the Judaism made them scared, so they didn't bark. But the idea is, it says over there, Anivale Malach, what do you call it? I went and killed the Mitzrayim. What state in the Gemara? Malchamavis Be'ir, the dogs bark. Benishim's Be'ir, the dogs are happy. So they saw the Benishim, so they were happy. So they're made, they didn't bark because the Benishim was there. That's why they didn't bark. Now, so that they were made, that the Benishim was the one that did it, so that's why they get the schar. Okay. Now let's put it in the proper time frame, the Makis. This is my claim. I claimed last week, if we discussed, I think we did the Abba cases that it's not just a lotion of chayres, a synonym. I have 4 synonyms, so I go and I bring you 4 drinks. It's 4 madreges of chayres. And the one, if you see the lashonis, this is one is avedis perach, you see vloisom, second boidosum, the third one is you become a second-class citizen, and the third and fourth one become a Sabbath observer. That in other words, you're a full citizen, that we have to accommodate you. That's the thing though. So these are the different madreges that existed. Using the logic of thing, when Moshe Rabbeinu came, he said the Makkas took about a year. So when did Moshe come to Mitzrayim? It would make sense he came around Tammuz time. So it's Tammuz of Elul, and then the Chayros came Rosh Hashanah. That's what it says in Rosh Hashanah, that you can do free Rosh Hashanah time. So why is for 6.5 months he still gets 7 Makkas? According to me, 7 Makkas, but I don't know how many they actually were. But I'm thinking it's 7 Makkas. But for 6.5 months before you went out, you were free. So what's the problem? What were you fighting about? That the thing was because of going out. It had nothing to do with being free. Wasn't the problem. The problem was you don't let us go out to be Kabul Ruchnius that we're going to do. It's similar, I guess, to what Russia does now, or what did all the years, that they don't let people leave. And therefore, because they don't let people leave, you're stuck over there. And that itself, you get fadolben from the places over there. You get the values of Mitzrayim and so on. And 4/5 of Klal Yisrael, as far as they were concerned, they were free. If we're free, why shouldn't we stay here? It's a beautiful place. We were born here all our lives. We lived all our lives. We like the climate. We like the area. We like the thing. Why should we leave? Right? So therefore, they didn't leave, and they died. The ones that were willing to go, because the nation says we got to go. This is not our place, and we'll see, Taki, in the end, that's one of the Igazach. Remember the day we left Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, not the day of freedom. That's freedom has nothing to do with us. That's not our tachlis. The tachlis is getting out of this treifa place. That's the tachlis. See there, okay. Then he tells them, and he tells them about the Korban Pesach. And the Korban Pesach is to put down the points. That is our religion. But it's our religion that teaches how to be mechanech. It says you have to eat it matzah, you have to eat it sliyesh, right? And you can't eat it no mavusha. So what's the difference in lessons? This thing there. Sliyesh is something. If you have a grill, and you never have to do it. I mean, you do it on your electric oven. On your gas oven. And put it in the house, in the stove, and it goes at a steady flame, you don't have any problems. You're going to get a very nice, even brown thing. But I want to grill it. So now, as the fire comes, there's a drop of blood or a drop of a liquid into the flame and makes the flame jump up. And if you don't get the piece of meat away from that, it's going to be charred. So therefore, it's a lot of watching. You have to be watching it constantly to make sure you get good meat. So that's the thing. That's how chinuch goes. It's a 24-hour job. There's no such thing as I'm going to base medrash. I'm forgetting about it. That's not my problem anymore. That there's no such thing. So therefore, no mavusha, war, which is that it does not be cooked. So for sure, there's nothing that needs preparation. Or even mavushal, I put on a slow cooker and I go to work. And I come home and I finish it off. Or whatever it is, or I go away for 2 hours for sure. The kol alma you can do. So obviously that's no good for Korban Pesach. This is the side of our religion, chinuch. That's the side. And that's why it goes to the Alba Bonim, and all these things, and we'll talk once we get to them, because the whole thing is chid. Okay, and what do you call it? And we're only here till we get out of here. That's the whole lesson of shoes on your feet. Okay. Okay, and then shoes matzahs. Okay. Then this is what the Beniman told him. Now Moshe is going to give it over to Klal Yisrael. So he starts, when he gives it over to Klal Yisrael, he mentions the first ben that we're going to have, and that's going to be the Rosh. And you think, like it's you're in Mitzrayim, you're looking forward to Ruchnias, that we're going to have religion and everything, and you tell me we're going to have bumps for kids. I mean, somehow it's a pretty big letdown. You think often that we're going to have to fight. You have to teach them. We understand. You have a bunch. Because what it says, we are in Eretz Yisrael. What are you doing? You're supposed to say that the bench was a mafkin between us and the Tzvi. Normally the Yam had a problem with that. The Yam said, what's the difference between the two? So the Mashkes should have had the same idea. What's the difference between the two? There's a difference. A Yid is not Kingo. Even though the motives are the same. That's important that I'm trying to think. I remember a little bit, you have Trotsky was a Yid. Stalin was a Goy. Them were Talmidim of Lenin, and there they made the revolution, right? The Russian Revolution. After Lenin died, the Stalin took control, and and Trotsky ran for his life. In 1940, he was assassinated in Mexico. Okay, that's the historical facts of it. But who was Trotsky as far as the revolution goes? He made the party, he made the army, he made the whole system. Trotsky, the stories with the Chaim about the Menayel from his yeshiva, he threw him out of his house or something because he threw him out of yeshiva, whatever it is there. And instead of realizing you've created a murderer by doing that, instead of paying a Talmud Chacham for using all this kishur for that, you created a murderer. But Emerson, he was a murderer. He killed, with Stalin, killed millions of people. So why is he something better than Stalin? Stalin did it for power. He wanted to be the head and so on. Trotsky did it because he wanted to save the people from the poorness that they lived under the Tsar. And because of that, it had to take it. Whatever it is, these guys are ma'akiv in it, so okay, we kill them, or whatever it is. But it was a different reason for killing them. A Yid is nikin goy. We don't do things for the reason goyim do things. That's the difference between us and them. No matter how bad the Yid is, he's still a Yid. It's a different thing. And that's what the Beniman is trying to tell them. And for that we see that Vayigdu Vayishtachavu, when it says over there, Vayikadhom Vayishtachavu, so Rashi Absuras Habonim, Absuras Oretz. Absuras Habonim, what are you, crazy? I tell you, you're getting bums for sons. You're happy? That's why you're giving me shvach v'dei like Kodesh Baruch Hu? Yeah, because if I got a bum, I can make him into a tzaddik. I don't have a kid at all. I can't do anything with it. If I have a bum, I still can do something about it. So they did it. Now the difference told us a different thing than the Agodah. The Agada says, when the kid asks him, he's supposed to haki yishinav. Haki does not mean come from the word of hitting. It's not hake yishinav, it's hake yishinav. It means shakum, like, in other words, the thing there. So what would you say? It's not a slap necessarily, but he says, get out of my house. Something like that. I think this is the thing. But here it says, you should say, that's not what it says in the Agada. I said we're talking this to ourselves. In other words, you're hearing these terrible words, and these terrible words you feel a thing. You're supposed to say to yourself, remember, the Rebbeinu Shalom is telling you this is the start. The Pesach Shav that he skipped the house of the Jews, even though they were Avodah Zarah, even though this, because there's a Yid is Nikin Goy. Your job is to take that Yid Nikin Goy and turn him into a tzaddik. That's your job that you have. So there's nothing to give up on. It's in the Chayim to do it. The Agada tells you how to do it. The Agada says throw him out of the house. Haki Shima, Shaka. Now, what does that help? I say to you, we had a Talmud Yeshiva, not going to get his name here now, whose parents were such signet of a former Yid that they would never walk on the Yeshiva property because it has to do with former Yid. How come the son was here? The son left college on his own and came. So there was nothing that you could do about it. But the mice is, then they became a little frumer, then got divorced, whatever it is. But the mice in the thing there, they were sonim of what he called. Okay. They were sonim of what he called. So those people always had a time on their parents or their grandparents. That all my grandfather knew was to hit. Now, do we want Chal Shabbos? He hit us. He hit us. He was always hitting us. So there was always this big time that they had on their parents. But let's say the kid, the father who always listens to the kid, and he says, okay kid, what's bothering you? Whatever it is. And this time he comes in, he says, he says, get out of my house. What does the kid say? What did I do? He doesn't say my father's a nut. He threw me out of the house because all I said is, because he always listens to me. He always argues with me. He always tells me pshat. Right? Why is he throwing me out of the house all of a sudden? What did I do? And now you can teach him. Because he said, what did I do? He sees the chesed and lays at him, not his parents. The question is, why did they throw me out? That's all the difference in the Agada in us. Okay. Anyway, they killed everybody, right? And again, he's okay. This is negay really for Bar Midbar, more than here. But the idea is Yom HaKoshi Kol B'chor Be'eretz Mitzrayim Mikdashi Nikol B'chor B'nei Yisrael. That's what the Benishim says twice. I didn't say Bar Midbar and say Bar Yisrael. So twice the thing that knows somehow the Kedusha came out. You say but the Kedusha B'chor became now, that's not true. Because they said to Paro originally that Yisrael is B'chori, and if you don't let my B'chor go, I'm going to kill your B'chor. So therefore he knew before that there's a B'chor and there's a concept. Yaakov and Yosef and Shal B'chor. So they knew that they're B'chor. So there's a name of another thing. So that's not the kasha. So they knew, but there was no B'chor Chaim. What's the raya? There was no B'chor Chaim? Because by Peretz and Zarach, it says Yetzer Rishayna. It doesn't say Zayya B'chor. Because because Yehuda already had 3 children, right? So there's not going to be his B'chor. She should be her B'chor. Her, she has no bin B'chera. It's just a Yetzer Rishayna. So that this will come out first. So that's why it doesn't say over there. When did I make the din of b'chaycha for women? I made it in a petarechem, in other words. When did I do that? The Yom Teisra Me'eretz Mitzrayim. On that day, Yom HaKosi Kol B'chor Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Why did he do it? So Rashi gives that a problem. That the Beisham had a problem. That the Mitzrayim wives, were mizana dafki with single guys. Don't ask me what pshat not. I can't answer you. But as we say, were ravokim. They were mizana dafki with single guys. And therefore it's possible that in one house you have 10 b'chayrim, because each single guy that she was mizana with gave the kid. But therefore when they got married, and they married a wife now, their first kid born over there is not a b'chor. Right? So that means 9 houses won't have any b'chor. And you said what will be, each house b'chor is going to die. You're full of baloney. You're just killing indiscriminately. In this house he killed 10, these 9 houses he killed nobody. Doesn't mean anything. So the Beisham was Mikadish V'chor Haim also. So therefore you got that one coming out. Now the shadow about Godel Abayis, that's another shikha. It says, Ein Bayish, Ein Shom Meis. How is it possible that no Bayis would have a Meis? I mean, maybe they're all girls, something like that. So Vashmi, he learns that the Godel Abayis would have died, maybe even a girl. And maybe that's the reason why women do fast on it. Not the Godel Abayis necessarily, but the mother who gives birth to a b'chor, who has a husband that's a b'chor, has to fast until the kid starts to fast himself for 13 years. She has to fast, so she has to go to the shiva here to see him, whatever it is she's going to do. But she has a chiyuv of tainis. Why was it putting up to the tainis? She's not a b'chor, she's not. But your Godel Habayis, you have a shaykhs. Okay. And they wanted to kick him out, but Pari got the fear of his life that night. They're coming to kick the Jews out, right? Chatzos, Chatzos halayla. Maybe till everybody knew it was an hour later, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. They come and get out of my country, go out, and the Yidden don't move. They're staying. When did he go out? The next morning, right? Why'd they wait till the next morning? It's not in your hands to send us out. The reason to keep us here. We could have left way before. We didn't need you. Whatever the reason was, you were Chayv Misa, and we made it to sure the world that the Beniman can control you, that to see that you'll also be masking. Have no eitzah. So therefore, that wasn't the point that you were kept here because you had a power. You had no power over us. So Mamela, then Pari wanted me to take it as staying. They're not going. This is the fear that he had all the way in the beginning, that the Valinu Me'oretz, that they'll force us to leave the country, not that they'll stay. And the thing is, so that's what he got scared of. Okay. That's the thing. And that's what I said. Or he took out all the Yidden. Then he took them all out. Okay, now let's see the Kaddish. Kaddish is the what he called them, the Eni Daily Show. And as most I call this picture is the guy stuck on a stump. He doesn't know what's happening on. He is the smartest, biggest tzaddik he got. And what Pshat Eni Daily Show is because the Father taught him mitchila what everything is, and the 6 stages that exist. So let's see what it says. Kaddish li kol b'chor petach. I want you to be mekadosh them. What is it says in Parshas Kiddushim? Kiddushim to you, right? So that's what he told them to be Kiddushim. He didn't tell the kids, you got to be Kiddushim. He didn't tell them that. He tells them what to do. So what does he do? He tells them, where is it there? This is the day you should remember. So, okay, so he hates that the Ikir Tachlis is we got to get you away from the culture of Mitzrayim. In other words, whatever the culture is, now you'll see, what do we do about America? Is there such a thing as a culture of America? Yes, there's a culture of America. It may not be as bad as the culture of Mitzrayim, that I don't know. One is the American dream. I think that's a big thing. That the tachlis of life is to have a house in the backyard. That is the thing. The second thing is that all rules are made to be broken, even Torah ones. And the thing over there. And the third one is, I think, winning is everything. It's not playing the game, it's winning. It's the tachlis. These are treifa hashkofas that exist in the thing there. And Semela is something that we want to get away from the treifa hashkofas of this country and stuff like that. So, how you do that? So the first thing you tell them is lo yochel chametz, sumera. Don't do bad things. Okay. You're also going out in the spring. Spring is renewal time. So there's always tshuva. So you'll say, well, if I can't do it, you can always do tshuva. It's the second step. So you have three already. The tachlis of that Yemaz that we're out to forget the culture of Mitzrayim. We're doing that by stopping rain and what do you call it? And the Tchoiz was the Shuve. We said that. When you get there, it's a Canaan, right? So there's another three things. You should now go into Chinuch, because that's the Korban Pesach, right? You make the Korban Pesach. V'shivas yom teichel matzahs is a din of asay toiv. Now the thing, and the third thing, matzahs yochshiv say yom le'yiroi l'cha chametz le'yiroi l'cha is in the wrong place. It should have been before le'yochel chametz le'yiroi l'cha. Right? That's what he should have said. Why is it waiting to eat matzah? So the idea is that the last step is the father has to do. He has to do, all of these are either on the father, what he's doing with the kid, but the biggest change he has to do is in himself. That I want it, that the people will not see Ra in you anymore. You should be so asay toiv to such a degree that they won't remember that you ever did bad. There won't be nikir to you that you ever were bad. That's a big thing. We find it in the Gemara like that, even though we have the story of the Gemara right away with him. Reish Lakish, we all know, was a gangster, right? Yet when everyone sees Reish Lakish talking to somebody in the street, they would loan him money without aid, because it means he's an honest person. Talk about Reish Lakish, talking to a gangster. He's a gangster. What are you talking about? He has friends that are gangsters. No, Reish Lakish is talking to somebody. Here's it. We know what his history. It's irrelevant if we know what his history is. But Lamais in him, you talk about Reish Lakish. It's the tzaddik ador. There's nothing to do about it. So that's the point. So it can be done. When that happens, when you get to that madrege, so what is it says? We got to Lebin Chabayimahu. Then you can first tell your son what's the tachlis of life. Rashi teaches us what's bavuzeh? Bavur to do mitzvahs. Bavur she'akayim mitzvahs kepes amatzamor, whatever it is. The tachlis of life is mitzvahs. Is avodas Hashem. That's the tachlis of life. But if you don't do these first 6 steps, he doesn't see it in you. You can't tell the kid that's the tachlis of life. He looks at you and he says, you're not treating me, you're not doing like the tachlis of life, so why should I do it? So the thing is, so automatically you defeat your purposes. So the Ikir is, he's the only one that can say, so why you call him an Eidah Elisha? He never had a kasha. He always was told what to do. He had no kasha. He says, an Eidah Elisha. What am I going to ask? I know what to do. So therefore he's the best. And regular stuff. Right? That's the thing there. It doesn't say anything about pidyon aben. There's nothing here about pidyon aben in the Parshas Kadesh, because you're not paid to him. He's always Kaddish. He's going to remain Kaddish. Now you got another son, which is the Tam, which is half guy. He's a former guy, does all the mitzvahs and stuff, but he doesn't really get into anything. He doesn't have any the stuff is there. So you post him about the Kopeta, so you say, you'll do the avoid, but he says it's interesting. The first one says, you're going to come to Eretz Yisrael in the middle. So to be in any day Lishol, you have schusim to get to Eretz Yisrael. The Tam doesn't have that schus. It's v'ayna v'hayi ki v'yacha, you're already in Eretz Yisrael, I won't throw you out. You're saying that you're doing it the Parshas without any cases flawless, or any cases of Mesiras Nefesh, fine. I'll keep this there, and that's what he did. And by him, there's already pidyon, because you're not having the Kedusha yourself, you're not doing it. Well, the other guy is doing it. You're at least paid it. It's a Kedusha for a little bit of time. I can't live up to it for constantly, so you paid it. And he's the guy that when he puts on film, he puts on Yod Koh on his left hand, to the Shvacha hand. The other guy, he always puts up Yod Chazokah and the thing over there, what do you call it? But I don't know in Halach if there's any difference, but I'm just saying, but by him, they don't find any such thing that he puts on the left-handed film. But him, you do find that he put on the left hand. And so therefore, the Tam is way lower than the Elisha. And it's the lowest out here, from the way it comes out the word tiny. I mean, the Rosh is the lowest only because he hasn't done anything. He's a bad guy. But ultimately, hopefully, he can become somebody that's good and stuff like that. But the Tam, he can live his life, but he's not going to become anything better than a Tam. By a Tam. Okay, good. In Shabbos, what's the right time now, right? It's right, yeah. Good in Shabbos. No, it's not. I want to go to 12 o'clock. I'm sorry. No, I'm still got 10 minutes. I'm just tumult. Okay. I've been there, yeah, man. I know what to do. I'm sorry. Now, I guess after this is going out really to the Gula, going to Eretz Yisrael. This is just passing time. It's really for next week, but I think the next week's got a lot of stuff in it. There's a Shaila where Har Sinai is. Now, years ago, nobody ever had any Shailas. It's in the Sinai Peninsula. It's where St. Catherine's, is, and everybody knows that. I only had a kasha all the years that it's over 8,000 feet high. 8,000 feet high is a pretty high mountain in my books. I go to the mountains, they're about 3,000 feet high, the Lufshisha Mountains. So why is an 8,000 foot high considered an enough? But okay, compared to maybe Mount Everest or something like that, which is 30,000 feet high. So okay, so it's a little shrimpy, but Lamaisa, we're not talking about Mount Everest. They're talking about Helm and they're all about is not so much bigger than Har Sinai. So what's the case? No, it's just Yanovi should be given Helm. What are we talking about? Less in the end of the first term of Trump, they made the Abraham Accords. And when the Yidden came there, they showed them what else was Chaim, what Har Sinai looked like. What's it doing over here, right? So if you take a look at a map, if Har Sinai goes, the Sinai Peninsula goes into Gaza, right? Gaza is Eretz Plishtim. I didn't take you that way, because if I have to keep you out of Eretz Plishtim, I got to make you go. You stay by the river over there. Make sure you don't walk in over there to Eretz Plishtim. It's not there. It's Eretz Plishtim. I went. You just tell me, don't shepherd them too much, something like that. But if I took you to Yam Suf, and this makes sense also, and this goes against the Kfira people. This is, I think they're wrong anyway in this stuff like that. The sea is called the Red Sea, right? The Red Sea, the Black Sea, the White Sea, Gray Sea, whatever it is there. I never heard of a what do you call it, of a Red Sea. No sea's red. It's the first place the way it's called Red Sea. Elavos is Yam Suf. They call it Sea of Reeds. That's how they translate. So you want to give it to you, that's a little puddle of water, like, the Strait of, what do you call, right where the Sinai comes, you got two little parts of water over there, Strait of Suez and something like that. So that's where the case Yam Suf was. So it's a little puddle, it's a big deal. There wasn't too much. Now, in that little puddle, how big is the whole water? Maybe a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, right? You have how many Jews to put in there? 3 million. How many Mitzrayim to put in there? That they're going to stay and drown? Figure another 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. I don't know how many we went. They all went there, right? The whole army went. All the men went. So there's a lot of people. They all fitting in the water at the same time. They didn't get into the water yet, so what's the big deal? They won't drown either. How do they drown? If you're talking about, they went to Saudi Arabia, so now you're talking about 200 miles of sea. 200 miles of sea, everybody can fit in there and stuff like that. So therefore, it makes more sense what they say, that it's, what do you call it? I saw a picture supposedly of it. It looks like a hill. It doesn't look like a big mountain, like, whatever they think. I don't know if they don't know what the Kabbalah is, but that's a different story.
Coming from Midian, why would Moshe meet Aaron at Har Sinai?
Yes.
Har Sinai is all the way.
Where's Midian? Saudi Arabia.
But it's not further than.
Huh?
It's not further than.
So that's why he came a long way. That's why he came a long way. But he landed up in Har Maria. How do you land up in Har Maria if you live in Midian? Har Maria is in Sinai Peninsula. So I had to walk 200 miles, 300 miles to take my sheep. What kind of a sugar a guy goes away for 300 miles to graze a sheep? Right?
But after he was already in the Malone, after the Mesa with the Mila, that's afterwards he met Aaron at that Har Maria.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
So that means he's almost at the Shayim.
But the first time he went, he was being Royed Sign Yisrael, and he was in Har Maria, right? That's where the Benshim came to him. He said, I want to see the snare, right? So how did Midian get to be near Har Maria? So that's the question. Weekly over there. So you'll say, good, he took a long trip. Good. That's what you had to say then. You had no other eitzes, so we said that. So now you have an eitzah that's mamish one next to the other. So now you have the other kasha, what you're asking. But that's not a kasha, so I haven't traveled that far. That's a big kasha.
But if he was already in the Malone, that means he was already almost. If he was already in the Malone, that means he was almost finished his journey. The Maisa with the Mila happened when he was already almost at Mitzrayim. It was the kasha that was the taina on him that he didn't do the Mila right away. But if he's all the way so far away from Mitzrayim, then why?
You understand the taina at all? What's the taina? You should have mauled him on the way.
As soon as he got there.
As soon as he got there. In the hall.
In the
now I came into the hotel and I should have marked him right there, stop, and take out the knife and cut the kid. Right before I go to the assignment to get my room. And he waited till he got his room. Right? That was the taina on him. Otherwise, what else is the taina on him? The whole Hamidbo didn't maul the kid. So what do you maul on him? What's the taina? So obviously you're not supposed to maul on the derech. So what's the taina? So obviously there is a shvacha taina. That's the yikel that it is there. So what's the problem? So he gave birth. It took him 8 days to get there. It's not a big deal.
If he's still so far away from Mitzrayim,
how far away is 3 days?
If we're saying that it's
you go 40 mil a day, right? 40 times 8 is how many days? So it's 3,200 mil. Okay, that's pretty. 320 mil. That's pretty far. That's a few hundred miles.
I'm saying. If he's still so far, if he's still in Saudi Arabia after the Mila, so that means that he's not close to Mitzrayim yet.
But he didn't stay there. He left. He went to Mitzrayim.
The Maloin was before he met Aaron at Har.
Right. They went.
So that means that it's closer to Mitzrayim.
That's after he was in Mitzrayim already. We shimal him in Mitzrayim or before Mitzrayim?
Before Mitzrayim.
Okay, before Mitzrayim. So then he surely have no kasha.
No, but if it's in Sinai, then I understand it's close to Mitzrayim. But if it's all the way in Saudi Arabia, so then why? Then it's still far away from Mitzrayim. So why would he mount?
He told me to go to Reuven Feinstein. So I went. 8 days later, I should have mounted my kid, and I didn't. So it's a kasha. I'm still on the road.
Why was he supposed to mount if it was still a long journey ahead of him?
Huh?
Why was he supposed to mount if it was still a long journey ahead of him? He still had a long journey to go.
I don't know if he had how much is ahead of him. Another day. So, but he stayed in the hotel. He still stayed someplace. So he should have mauled the kid in the hotel. Not he should have not mauled him. Good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you, sir.